Okay, this is so different. We're doing this on the computer. We're going to try this out. Where do we look? Up here?
Yeah, that
look
little
up
camera.
there. Yeah, there. That's where we go. Okay, that's a lot of difference because we look down here. Okay.
Can we move it a little bit up just so it's closer?
Maybe.
La 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 la.
Okay. We are doing something new because the internet here is not wanting to roll with us and it can't handle us. We're just too much.
Our energy is so high that the internet's like, we can't do it.
Too much.
Like my appliances the other day I was talking about.
Okay. So we're going to continue, just finish answering some of these questions and then post this in the Alatura. And so this is kind of the end of our supposed to be live feed.
We apologize for the interference today and the 3 minutes late.
Yes, apologize for all of that.
Thank you.
Okay, so Carrie, I think we answered your question on what if there's an emotion or something you feel that is negative that has shaped your whole life from when you were young. Boy, do I get you, and that emotion for me would be shame. I have a huge foundational piece of shame throughout my whole entire childhood that came into my whole adulthood. So I get you, and can we change that? Absolutely. We have the ability to change. We change the way we think about it, the story that we have wrapped around it. That changes the emotions that come through for that specific piece.
I have a story for you that just came to my mind, Carrie. I was mentoring, and the sweet lady shared a story from when she was younger, that because of the circumstances in her home, the stress that it put on her, she started wetting the bed. She was just little, like 5 years old. And she'd go to her mom. She'd wet the bed. She goes into her mom. She's like, Mom, I wet the bed. And her mom would say, you deal with it. Sorry, you deal with it. You go clean your sheets and you get back in bed. So she goes and she tells her brother, she's like, Mom says you have to help, even though she didn't. And so he would begrudgingly help her change the sheets and shame the heck out of her. Like, just, oh my gosh, what are you, a baby again? And why do you do this? And you should wear a diaper. Like, all these things, just verbally really causing some pain for her. It became a horrible, horrible experience. And she felt very shamed and very stuck and in this cycle of continually wetting the bed. She remembers this so clearly. She's a mom now and married, and she says, this is one of the things that I think about often that caused me so much shame, so much pain, and I still feel it. I still think about it. And her story was that she was not deserving of love from anyone, even her Savior. She's like, I was not deserving, and I still to this day feel not deserving because of that situation. Mm-hmm. And so she had created a whole bunch of stories around why that it happened. She goes, there was no reason for that to happen. I have not benefited from this story. I am 30-something years old, and there's still no reason that I can see that this happened. What's interesting is our memories, we can only truly accurately remember things 10%. Like 90% of the things we remember are inaccurate, right?
There are stories.
There are stories, right? How we saw it, the perception. We don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are. It's one of my favorite quotes.
It's huge.
And so she saw it in a certain way. And I said, okay, sweetheart, what if we change the story around it? She says, I don't know how to do that. So we sat together and created something that changed the way she felt about that and the way she saw it. And she says, what if, or I suggested, I said, what if that moment was the catalyst for you being able to stand on your own feet, to take care of you, so that you were able to marry someone who was supportive of you and strong and a good father to your children. And if you hadn't had that experience, what if it had shaped you to the place where you had married someone that was abusive to you or was non-supportive or that walked all over you because you didn't learn how to stand on your own 2 feet? And she looked at me, she goes, I'd never thought of it that way, ever. I said, but you're the creator of the story that was causing you pain. Now you can be the creator of the story that now brings you joy and peace. What would you choose? there's no way to prove what is true or false or right or wrong about that story. But right now, you are the creator of what can bring you joy and what can bring you peace or what can bring you pain. And she says, I don't want to choose pain anymore. And that day she chose to recreate the story. So I'm just reaching out to you. What is it about the story that is causing you pain? And what story can you now choose into that can bring you peace about it?
I love that. Thank you, Shelps.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amy, I just wanted to recognize something. You're feeling squashed, and then you're also noticing the opposite of that, which is the flip side, because you're like, if I can feel squashed, I also get the other side. And so you said that I'm getting excited. I love that you can see the opposites. My caution to you is, because it's what I would do, is I would take myself out of the being squashed and jump into the excitement and try to move into that, forgetting and stuffing this whole situation. So I'm just going to bring your awareness to, if that's coming up for you, remember to honor and acknowledge the squashed you that feels like you can't love any part of you, is what you said. Be with her. Feel that. It's painful, but don't leave it to jump into, oh, I get to feel the opposite, which is excitement, because I've done that for so long. Positive thought myself out of the pain, right? And that means the pain gets to remain there and grow. And so we both just encourage you to stay in the pain and feel that. Be with the pain of feeling squashed and like I can't love any part of me. And then you'll allow yourself to get to the excited part, because you're right. On the other side of this is just yummy goodness, right? Don't leave the pain too soon. Like, acknowledge and be with the pain until it leaves you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
This last week I had that experience where I was pushing it aside just enough, like, okay, I'm just going to push it to the side. I have other things to do, and it literally kept building throughout the week until I had a point where I was done. I was so done that I was done being a mom. I was done being and like working. I was everything. Cam was like, whoa, Shel, what's going on? I'm like, I'm laying on the kitchen floor, sprawled out, done. I don't want to move. Like, the weight of the world is right here on me. I had allowed those emotions to pile up so much that they had squashed me to the ground. And so I finally, in that space, I'm like, I can either die on the kitchen floor and no one will know that I'm here until I start stinking of. I was being dramatic.
She was pretty low.
And being dramatic. I'm going to start stinking and the whole world's not going to know until I start stinking that I'm here. Then I surrendered. I surrendered to the emotion. And I said, okay, I'm going to feel it. And I felt it to the depths. And I cried and I sobbed and I used my bat on my pillows. I allowed it to be expressed and to be heard. And once I truly, truly felt it and allowed it to flow, then on the other side is when I felt the hope and the love and the peace again. That other side, we tend to just numb out and allow ourselves to just skim the surface and not truly feel. And then we aren't able to feel that pure love on the other side unless it is fully felt on this side. And so I get a constant reminder. I'm still learning. We are teaching this to you, but we are still experiencing and learning with you. And that was a big reminder for me, because the on the other side felt so much better. But I hadn't acknowledged it till then. And I was reminded. So
thank you for living what we teach.
It's hard.
That. It is hard.
Something that's really hard.
Sometimes it is.
We get you.
Okay, so Beth, we wanted to address your comment, because this is so important and such a big leap in our opinions for you to show up and express this. So Beth shared that I've been feeling very lonely and alone lately. So I started to talk to my little girl inside my head, and I'm going to invite you to consider that she's not in your head. She's here. Our little selves live within our heart. We have a lot of head voices, but our little inner child is here. And suddenly I see a little girl sitting alone on the playground. Me, as a child, sad and lonely. And then I follow the emotions and I feel hate. I'm going to stop right there and appreciate the heck out of you because you're being with you. And you're following the emotions and being there. I hate her. And I suddenly realize some of the root of my hate is I hate me. And oh my goodness, this is such a big find for you.
Beth, that you're sharing this with us, I'm honoring you so big.
Huge.
Like truly to acknowledge such a big emotion here within our community means that you feel safe here. And that brings us joy.
We're honored.
And we truly are honored.
I've known this subconsciously but never acknowledged it. But I want to bury it. Bury her. And then she dies inside me again. And I start to find the root of my depression. When it hurts like this, I climb into bed and sleep. I kill the sadness and emotions and I go to sleep. Not sure I'm ready to face this Goliath. I invite you to take some deep breaths on this find, as well as everybody else who's with us in the Alatura, to take some breaths and hold space for Beth. A lot of us can relate to hating a part of us, that little girl, that little boy inside, that's suffering, that's hurting, that's squashing, that's judging, that's jealous, that's selfish.
Ones we feel that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, all of the pieces of us.
I'm feeling from you, Beth, that the deep grief that you feel, the depression I am feeling is coming from the grief that you feel from letting that part of you go, from burying her because of you've been so ashamed of her that it feels like she has died to you, that a part of you has died. And then the natural response for us is to grieve. And so as long as she is dead to you, you will be grieving that part of you. And you will feel depressed. You will feel that heaviness in your chest and that constant heaviness like on your body, the weight of the world on your body, because you're missing you. The pieces that we ignore, the pieces that we push away, even though we think they're bad and we don't want them, we miss them because we don't feel all of us. They're needed.
We're not feeling whole.
We're not feeling whole and complete. All of us is welcome to our experience and needed in our experience. The yin and the yang is the light side and the shadow side, and then you have a whole circle. And so the dark side of you has been told that she's hated and she should die, and you actually are missing, even though you don't know because you haven't wanted her, you're missing her. You're grieving her loss.
So we invite you into a space of love and having compassion on you for hating her. There's a lot of stories there. There's a lot of experiences. There's a lot of survival techniques that you've taken in order to move into the space that you're at today. The fact that you're feeling depressed, I would celebrate, because that's it's just information. It's not bad or good. It's information for you to realize that there's a part of you that you've been trying to kill. By hating her enough, you thought she would go away. And yet she's still here. And over time, she'll be willing to come into your space and into your arms and to trust you as you learn to trust her. There's some good conversations that you can set up between you and her, and have visualize her and do some breath work around it, have some soft music and have her join you on your lap. That may take a while. That may take a year. How many years have you been hoping that she would die? And so she might take some time to gain some trust that you could love her. But I invite you into a space, if you're willing to love this part of you, then everything can start changing for you.
And if you're in a space where Because I know in many of my little girls, I'm like, I'm not ready to love her yet. But just in the acknowledgement here, acknowledging she's there, the fact that you see her and feel her, that's a huge step in that direction. Mm-hmm. And so honor you and appreciate you, acknowledge the fact that this was a big, big step in that direction of being able to love. You don't have to take on the full Goliath right now, sweetheart. You don't have to. Literally one step at a time. It can be baby steps. If that's what you're ready for, take one breath at a time. Breathe in some life into her today, and that would be enough today. And tomorrow, take 2 breaths of life into her. Just see her and send her the breath of life, some light in her direction, and nothing more. If you feel like there's more, tap into your heart and say, what more might I be able to do today to get closer to that little girl? And maybe it's just imagining you taking one step in that playground a little bit closer, making eye contact with her. Just little pieces on a day-to-day basis. And like Cam said, it could take a year, and that is okay. It's okay.
Worth it, right?
Yeah.
When you said it feels like a Goliath, I feel like a fight has to come up. If it's a Goliath, like you're going up against this gigantic monster. I invite you to see it differently. That this monster is just a little girl. And she just wants to be loved and accepted by you.
Be held.
Instead of hated or fought against or pushed into the corner. She's innocent. She's little. So sometimes she did things that she didn't know what she was doing. She was just trying to be loved and accepted. And so if you can come into a space of love rather than fear, then the world will shift.
We don't have to know better. We tell ourselves often that we should know better. That little girl should have known better. And I'd like to invite you to a new story that we don't know better because we didn't do it better. We are innocent. We are in a space of childlike experiences here on this planet, even though we're in our 40s and 30s. Each experience is new to us. And we have an innocence about us. Mm-hmm. That little girl is innocent. She did the best she knew. She really does, and so are you right now. In this moment, you are innocent. You're doing the best you know.
And if the best you know how to do sometimes, Beth, is to crawl into bed and curl up and sleep, awesome. That's the best you know how to do. Love yourself in that space. Yesterday, Shelby and I were like, we had this list of this many things that we were going to accomplish and get done and do and blah, blah, blah. Then we both started our period and started cramping and getting cranky and like, what? And we're like, you know what? Let's curl up in our blankies and make some yummy foods.
Let's take care of us.
Let's just take care of us in this space. And we didn't get that stuff done that we really had intended and wanted to create. But what we were able to do, to be, is love toward ourselves. And instead of angry and frustrated that our bodies were going through this process, we're like, you know what? Change of plans. It's time to love on me. And sit in the hot bath and sit in the hot springs and be wrapped up in blankies and just be. And so we're all doing the very best that we know how. What if we accepted that and loved ourselves through it? So that's wrapping up our supposedly live video today. Thank you for your patience, and we love you. Thank you for your shares, for coming into this and sharing what was coming up for you guys.
I love how willing you are to be seen.
Yeah. You guys, we're just getting started. We're 22 days in. Wait till you're 122 days in. What, like, oh, I'm so excited!
Living the Alatora way.
Yes. Bethany, you asked, how do we learn about food? How do we, right? We explore. We try new things. We are not afraid to mess up because that brings up all sorts of shame in me, and then I get to love myself through that place. Like, we just go to Whole Foods and we explore. We're like, wow, we've never tried this before. Okay. And then we go ask everybody. We Google it and try to figure out, well, what are these purple things? And we ask all our Alatura peeps, like, do you know the names of this? Because we just ate it and it was yummy.
What's the fruit that you need a machete to open? What's that one? Teach us about that.
So just the new row, that's how. Go try a bunch of new things. That's what Shelvis and I do. And that's how we learn. And we're not afraid to ask anyone and everyone about it and to get advice and to try what they're saying about it. We read a lot. Yeah, that's how. So we love you guys.
Play and exploration.
Yeah. Creation,
we love
baby.
you.
Mwah.